I really like this idea that in the end, we're all solving human problems through technology. And we're not, as a software engineer, my role is not to simply develop technological solutions. They need to have this human outcome. I'm Daniel Bloomfield-Ramagem. I'm a software engineer for Meta. I joined the company in 2017, and I work out of our Washington, D.C. office. I immediately think of my mother's recipe book, which is a spiral notebook. So she keeps her recipes in a spiral notebook. Every page has a number, and she keeps kind of an index at the beginning of that notebook so she can easily find the recipe. Well, that's a database. So, my mom is a database engineer, perhaps, or not engineer, but certainly she relies and has created her databases. So I like that fun kind of example because it shows the range of things that are possible once you store data in a structured way that can be easily retrieved. And so it's the recipe book, but it's also, the picture I just shared on Facebook that now my friends get to see anywhere they are in the world so quickly. All that is powered by a lot of infrastructure, databases at the core. I think data is at the heart of every application. And so learning to create an effective data layer that can provide the user with quick responses, accurate responses, and results is really critical. And as a database engineer in particular, I think you are involved in such a critical component of building applications, and you have such a large influence on everything else that follows from the data. So that includes the user interface. It includes the clients, the APIs, like all of that gets influenced by how the data layer gets modeled, stored, and all the characteristics of being able to retrieve that data effectively and making it the consumption of that information easy for the rest of the tech stack. So you have a really large influence, and I hope you walk away knowing that you have this very large influence on the development of applications. So technical skills I use on a daily basis. Certainly I code, and when I say code, I mean not only I program using kind of a standard programming languages for web, but I also work in the database space by creating the pipelines that produce, that extract, transform, and load a lot of the data that makes its way into the applications that we develop. The soft skills I use on a daily basis certainly include a lot of communication and organization. It's easy you come out of school and you're so excited about the coding, the technical skills you've learned, and those are obviously very, very important. But I thought code was king. I'm here to program. And I expect people to understand the output of what I'm making. And I learned that is insufficient. And I saw great examples of people who were doing great technically, but they were excelling furthermore on just being able to explain what they were doing, not only to the team internally, but to the people who are going to maybe use those features in the tool set. The perfect is the enemy of the good. Particularly, I think with database development, it's easy to overcomplicate solutions, and especially when you're doing with data modeling and data storage. You want to cover every possible variation of data, every different use case, edge case for using that data. And that can lead you down the path of creating very complex data schemas that become hard to maintain, can be not well performant. So you need to iterate on your work. For databases, I would say, try to focus on the here and now needs of data. Be especially mindful of these perceived needs for massive data scalability, which may, again, lead you to overcomplicate your solution when in fact you might need something much smaller scale, at least to kick off and get better understanding of what the feature and the data requirements truly are. So start small, iterate frequently. Write more often. And I know usually when you think of engineers or database programmers, you think the output of your work is, it's the program, it's the code, it's the SQL queries. And yes, it is, but that alone I think is insufficient. So complement that with writing. Now, what are you going to write about? Well, certainly there's documentation that goes along with your code. I have a good colleague at Meta that always tells me when I said I'm done with something, he looks at me and says, "Are you done?" And I said, the first time he said it, it's like, Yes, I'm done. And he followed up with, is your documentation ready? Is your code checked in the right places? Is the wiki page updated? Did you write a post about this? And so he emphasized the importance of code is the 80%, 20% is that additional communication that's needed. So I would say write more often. Don't be afraid to write imperfectly. Write something, put something out there, whether it's sharing the status of something that you're doing, whether it's just enhancing documentation for something that you're working on. Get into the habit of writing more often. Try to take what you're learning and connect it to something practical that you can see a use for. Whether it's learning about databases and thinking about a recipe book that your mother or father has in a spiral notebook, or maybe baseball cards that you tracked as a child, or comic books that you tracked as a child. Try to think of ways to apply what you're learning technically to these real life problems. They can be small problems like finding the recipes at the right time, but they can be, of course, bigger, more perhaps interesting problems around just technical and digital communication between people.